And now, your official TigerBait live show with Mike Scarborough and Buddy Songy starts now.
How about that? I think we got some big news to discuss tonight. Five-star cornerback DJ Pickett to LSU. Buddy Songy back in the house after a couple of weeks of vacation. And big LSU baseball news, more recruiting news on the way. And SEC football media days, one more day left in Dallas. And obviously huge news. Show brought to you by our title sponsor, Pride Roofing. And we'll talk a little bit more about them as well as some of our other great sponsors. But absolutely a big show. And we're going to go for a solid hour tonight. Welcome in, buddy.
Good to see you, Mike. I hope everybody doing well. Look, it was nice. I looked at one of our last shows, and I was getting a little testy, a little grumpy, a little irritable. So thanks to Mike. Zach Nagy did a great job. Look, Chris Gordy is a star. You may not be as familiar with him as we are with a lot of other locals, but I thought both of those shows, man, I say this to you all the time. I enjoy watching this show more than doing it, but I'm as excited as can be. We had showers today, and you usually think, oh, that's
about 4 or 5 more days of it.
Well, yeah, but you thought that was sad, crying. This was tears of joy. LSU proving that the purple and gold are. It's great to be a Tiger fan right now. Paul Skeens and Livy Dunn, unbelievable publicity at the All-Star game. Still a great story. You and I, when we first recruited, saw him recruited and came in here, that first press conference, everybody was going like, wow. This guy is the real deal. That's great pub. Jay Johnson continues to shift into fifth gear, flipping a lefty pitcher from Texas A&M. How you think the coach at LSU now, who we all thought Yeski was going to be in the hot seat, he did a great job at the end of the year, got somebody from A&M and another infielder for 2025. But this is big news because we've been talking about it. Everybody assumed Oregon and Miami were going to pull the rug out from LSU. When that kid had a great visit with Patrick Peterson and all that early on, we all thought he'd be a Tiger. But as you know, it's always fluid, and I'll let you pick up the rest of the story.
Yeah, I mean, look, this is absolutely huge. You're talking about a kid who's been on 5 visits to LSU in as many months, came for an official visit on Memorial Weekend, a 5-star cornerback, number 1 cornerback in the country. 6'4" with a wingspan to match. And, what's funny is I make a post this morning and I say, look, it's DJ Pickett's this evening. My prediction is Oregon, and start getting calls 5 o'clock. I said, man, it sure looks like Oregon to me. And then I'm start thinking, man, something seems up here. And I go ahead and start typing something up. And just in case, sure enough, he does it, and it's absolutely huge. Oregon folks, Miami folks are absolutely sick over this one. Corey Raymond gets his man. Corey Raymond, who's taken a lot of abuse on message boards and talk radio and a little bit on this show. This is a huge get for him and puts a little pep in his step. And it's big for LSU. 17 commitments. He's the first cornerback commitment in the class, or the lone currently committed to LSU. And I think it's just big. And they were shocked everywhere. I'll tell you this. I reached out to a source about 20, 30 minutes after it was done. And I said, man, was this a shocker? And the answer was no. You guys in the media have had it all wrong. That kid was never off of LSU. And so basically I got hit with the fake news card. Well, but I laughed, and good. It's good for them. I think, local media that cover LSU like to be wrong in cases like this, but that's what happens with groupthink. When you have a kid who does a good job of, I'm not going to say he played the recruiting game, but he went on some pretty spectacular visits. He's a 5-star kid. His press conference was pretty cut and dry. Didn't play any games there.
Position of need for LSU. Yeah. And once again, that big mindset of getting DBU back in the house. Look, everybody knows from the offensive side with Bryce and Harlem and all the other guys, of course, Keelan and all the defense, got to supplement, got a couple D tackles last week. You get more and more momentum, could have a safety, could have a wide receiver. You're feeling a little bit of momentum. We talk about it each and every summer. LSU gets around 18, 19, 20 with the early signing period and unlimited signing period. Yeah. What was it last year? I think they signed 23 early, right?
Yeah, there's
22, 23. So there could be another handful if they progress.
Well, you got Bayou Splash coming up. Look, you got Derek Meadows happening on Saturday, wide receiver from Las Vegas. That's looking like LSU. I reached out to my Notre Dame guy before we went live, and he and I have been talking back and forth for weeks. And he says they're optimistic, but they're not overly optimistic in South Bend. It sounds like they're worried about losing that one, LSU. And, when Cortez Hankton makes some cryptic tweets like he has lately, that one sure is looking good for LSU as well. Jabari Antoine on Saturday. I'll say this, and I think this is probably what a lot of LSU recruiting guys think, or the guys that cover the media. I don't know what he's going to do on Saturday, but I think a lot of people believe that regardless of what he does on Saturday, it's not necessarily over. So there's still time on that one regardless. But this is a huge, huge get for LSU. I think it's a real big positive for Corey Raymond. Certainly a lot of other variables and coaches on the staff assisted in this one. But I think it's just a huge thing from a PR standpoint and for Corey Raymond. And so good for him.
Hey, we've got a lot of notes and tidbits tonight. We'll get into them. Mike and I have been talking about it. Mike and I both agreed today on the radio show that we don't feel, and I'm not going to talk for Mike, but I think you'll agree. I'm looking at some of these schedules, and everybody's saying Georgia and Texas. Folks, if you look at Georgia's schedule, if they go undefeated this year, I would be shocked. Same thing with Texas. The grind. People don't realize adding two teams of magnitude of Texas and Oklahoma even makes it a tougher grind. And I'm looking at Georgia and Texas. We're going to go through that a little bit. And I'm also going to give you a tidbit. Everybody has noticed the flavor of Texas, the barbecue, the Boomer Sooner, with the questions about OU and Texas, how they're going to relate to all of these SEC coaches and players. Poor Harold Perkins had no idea who that linebacker is, who's a hell of a player.
Right, and they'll try and twist that into being bulletin board material. Right?
Yeah, but my point is that I'm going to give you some tidbits about OU and Texas that are going to shock you on this Wednesday night.
Absolutely. All right, let's dive into some questions. Got a lot of people. Welcome Roger Ramjet, who's almost always first. Hey, Mike and Buddy, good to be with you. Always enjoy the show. Go Tigers. Keith Watley, good evening, Mike and Buddy. Always love the show. Glad to have you all with us. Wilk, good get with DJ. Now, if we can get DeCorian back. Yeah, I don't know about DeCorian more. Nurse Court, what's up, family? Good to have her back.
Good to talk to you, Court.
Jared Guillory, or is it Gerard? Wow, just wow, absolutely. Shocked still, he adds. All right. Let's see here. Yeah, let's see here. Yeah. Hal Jubin, Buddy is back. Yeah. And I'm going to segue this for you, Buddy. Jeff Garman. Yes, Corey Raymond, and baseball hit it big today.
Yeah. As we said, a left-handed pitcher that was committed to Texas A&M, Jay Johnson. Somebody posted it on one of the sites. I want to ask you about it because, look, we all know that when you get a little taste of LSU recruiting, even though the Bayou Bash is not here anymore, but people keep up with it. I don't care if it's Coach Mulkey, Coach Johnson. And to show how good Jay Johnson's been at the end of the year, he's been getting more talk on the bulletin board material, and football's been a little lagging. But do you feel like if you would take one head coach out of everyone out at LSU, is Jay Johnson? We know he's probably the most hardest working. I don't know how the guy sleeps, but is he the best recruiter with all the coaches out at LSU?
I think as far as
he's got to be up there, Mike.
He might be number one because he recruits. He's involved. He's the guy. I mean, he logs the miles.
And look, we'll give you all the information, but another shortstop coming in, another left-handed pitcher. And as we know, Jared Bear Jones. Did you ever get to Skinny? Because they thought he'd go in the first 10 rounds. And then after you don't get picked in the next 10, you got a legitimate chance of coming back. At some point, the Bear said, I'm not going. So
yeah, well,
great news also for that.
Kenny Haynes with a super chat says, Mike, I know you're tired of baseball and all. No, I'm not. But getting Bear Jones back is huge. Don't tell Snake. He still thinks otherwise. Him and
Snake are still frying.
So I'm trying to ask which one is the more fake news from the media. All of us telling you that Bear Jones wasn't coming back. He's going pro. Or is it DJ Pickett to LSU or DJ Pickett to Oregon picking LSU an hour and a half ago?
Well, all I can tell you is that Jay Johnson works tirelessly, and I don't think he liked the culture of that baseball team this year. I don't think all of us made idiots of ourselves when we talked. I'm sitting here saying this is the best pitching staff, best left-handers, 10 lefties, and all that. He realized what he had to do.
Well, the thing about it is Bear Jones wanted to go higher than he did.
Oh, there's no doubt.
I mean, but
that's a real coup.
But that's the beauty of baseball. They have the option to return.
He led LSU in strikeouts, but he also led them in home runs with 28. I think he struck out 76 times, but he walked 59 times this year, and that's where he got better. And
do you think college football players should have that same option?
What's that?
Is baseball, if they don't like where they're drafted, can return?
Yeah, certainly.
Yeah, thank you for that super chat, Kenny. All right, let me scroll down here. John Sibley Butler, Kim Mulkey is right up there when it comes to recruiting. Yes, she does get out, but I don't think on a day-to-day basis, and I could be wrong on that, but I'm going by what she actually says to us. Rita's handles a lot of it and others, whereas Jay is, he might have a guy on his staff that's listed as a recruiting coordinator. But I mean, Jay is on the phone with every one of these guys and logging miles. And
you got 40. We got 40 players on the baseball team, and Coach Mulkey is limited to 13 or 15, whatever it is. And of course, BK. Look, one other little tidbit I want to throw in there. We're talking about LSU this year, Mike. I went through the roster very carefully. 42 players are new this year. 42 of the 85 are new. Now, I didn't count DJ Chester because he got a red shirt. Shelton Sampson, he got a red shirt. So some of these guys are red shirt freshmen. But you're going to get a lot of in-depth detail when we talk about numbers. Gio Paez is 99. We talk about Dominic McKinley and all these new players. It is going to be a crapshoot for us to have that many new players. But if you look at his video and all the stuff that we're going to bring you, we're going to get into it and dive into it 2 weeks from tomorrow, start of LSU football practice again. I'm as excited as can be.
My guy, Pat Mashburn, will this momentum help bring Antoine on board? We'll see. They're working that one very hard. We'll see how that rolls out on Saturday. But again, I think regardless of whatever's done on Saturday, I don't think that one is going to be over until it's absolutely over. We'll see. All right, it's that time. Let's talk about our title sponsor each and every week. Let's hear from Mike Faraday and Alex Martinez.
Hi, I'm Michael with Pride Roofing.
I'm Little Alex.
Have you been affected by wind, hail, and tornadoes on the North Shore? Well, we're here to help.
Insurance claim, no problem.
We also have a new franchise location in New Orleans.
We don't build projects, we build memories.
Though you know Pride Roofing is the official roofer of TigerBait.com.
In fact, notify TigerBait and we'll give you a free roof inspection. And on top of that, you get a free year subscription. Remember to call us at
855-PRIDE-16.
Give them a call, 855-PRIDE-16, free roof inspection, commercial or residential. Say TigerBait, and they're going to pay for you to have TigerBait Premium for a year. And they pay it, and you can't beat them. Homa, New Orleans, right here in Baton Rouge, Mike Kirby. Of course, based in Hammond, Mike Faraday, a Broadmoor High and LSU grad, and they do fantastic work. No builder-grade materials. They manufacture all the flashing and everything else in there. They always have at least 200 homes worth of shingles and all the right colors in stock. So you're not waiting on a roof 3 or 4 months because shingles are back ordered. That's why you need to use Pride Roofing. And again, say TigerBait when you call.
You know, we said this a couple years ago. I kind of started hitting the sign and I'd knock it over almost every week. We said and pointed to that right there and said, Brian Kelly's going to bring back LSU Pride. Now, we wasn't talking about defense necessarily right out of the gate because it's been a cluster. But when you do business with these people, you're going to have pride. They're going to treat you right. They're going to do what they say they're going to do. Commercial, residential, and obviously metal roofs. Picked up Crown Metals as a big-time acquisition. All the concrete companies, they invest their money back to expand. They've changed the roofing business. You're not going to see them on TV every night like a lot of other people. That's not their niche. But give them an opportunity. Mike Kirby has reestablished the Baton Rouge office with big in a big way. 275-2041. Of course, outside the Baton Rouge area, 85 Pride 16. And Mike and Alex and their staff, they really care. They take great pride. You will too. Trust me, they will sharpen the pencil. You know how these bids are. A guy comes in 400 too high, 500, whatever. Give them an opportunity and tell them Buddy and Mike were bragging about him. Mike, of course, is known, Alex and Mike, for many, many years, and we stand by it. We've had a lot of people do business with him. Trust me, you won't be sorry.
Absolutely. Yeah, here we go. Jared Guillory. Can the experts make picks today in the NIL world? It's made it a little bit more difficult. That's for sure.
Well, you know, the scuttlebutt, what happened is that, you know, DJ took his visits, and let's be honest, let's tell it the way the rumor is, since everybody's been wrong about it. We can be wrong some more, but Oregon threw a number out there, and I think LSU probably had to get in that ballpark.
And here's the other part of it. Is this a situation where you also need to give Austin Thomas some credit, you know, because that is absolutely a huge part of it. A player can love a particular assistant coach all he wants. He can love the venue. He can love the weight and strength coach in the weight room. But if your NIL is way, way off, you can lose a kid who cut his teeth in your stadium. So you got to have everything on all cylinders rolling right now. All right, let's see. Corey Raymond, DBU is back. Relationships matter in recruiting, says Nurse Court, and Corey sticking out that chest today, says Jeff Garman. And I think y'all are all absolutely right. And let me scroll down here and get some more. Titus Shower. So many were doubting Corey, and I have never understood why. He has a resume, check the record. And Andy Whitaker, awesome to see these commits in the current class, but I refuse to celebrate until they sign. I know a lot of people, that's always been the case for years, but certainly in the NIL age, that sentiment is grown.
I liked what this kid sounded like with the little snippet I saw. And when you start talking about DBU and you talk about relationships and you talk about Patrick Peterson, hey, let's give Derek Stingley Jr. a shout out. He was also involved. Don't think Bryce Underwood, Arlen Berry, and all these guys hadn't blown up. They probably been laughing at everybody because they probably knew, although it seemed like it's starting to come out that only a couple of days ago did he really finally make the decision.
See, and here's the other part of why this is big, okay? You know, we open the show and we're talking about where they're likely to get picked at the end of the week. And, you know, I can tell you, it sure seems to me, and I've got data, analytics, website, YouTube, to kind of think that maybe LSU fans are not as dialed in right now for the upcoming season because they're going to see LSU pick 7th or 8th. But like I made a point on your show today, 7th or 8th in the SEC, you're very much in the top 13, 14, 15. But if you've got a brand new defensive coaching staff and you're bringing in guys like DJ Pickett and you've got a class that's now securely in the top 5 or higher with more to come, you meet expectations this year, and BK gets another kick in a gear for the following coming years just because of this recruiting class.
But this is big.
And then you got next year, 26, looking so good in Louisiana.
But this is what people do. We've already been to the beach. We've already been raped for 1,500 for 2 days or 3 days. People will now want to get back. The sand are out, the toes out of the sand. They want to get back into some momentum with football. And once again, I think, Mike, indirectly, this shows that when BK was quoted and everybody went crazy because he used the P word, pay. He said, we're not going to pay players. What he really meant is we're going to do the best job of our assessment. We want them to be graduates. We want them to grow up, but we're not going to overpay is what I really think he meant. And that young man, I think, is worth whatever he got. We don't need to estimate it, whatever, but he's got all the right reasons to come to LSU. And that's what they're looking for, besides a guy that just says, give me, give me, give me, before he knows anything about this part of the country and this program.
Yep. A bunch of them said that they're always dialed in on LSU. I know you guys are, but Corey Rogers, Moses, and Pickett on the same defense. Shit. Yeah. Not how you start in the rankings, but how you finish. Bearded Dragon Marvin. Yeah. And, I think if you said, BK, what would you rather when the media and they release the predicted order of finish, would you rather 7th or 8th? I think BK said would say give me 8, but you think they'll be 7?
I'm unlucky. I'm superstitious. 7 and 11 are my lucky numbers. I don't want the AP to have them nationally 13, but lo and behold, I think right now from what I'm picking up, and I just went through Georgia's schedule. Folks, Georgia could lose a couple games this year. We'll go through it at some point in the next couple of shows.
Who are you pulling for, Georgia or Texas?
Well, that's what I'm saying. Look, they play Alabama. They play a ton of people this year.
I want them to beat Texas.
Yeah, well, they don't have, but nobody has the cupcake, and that's what Mike and I are saying. Everybody's going to lose a game. I mean, I would be shocked if somebody goes through an undefeated season in the SEC this year.
But what does it say about what they think Oklahoma when you look at their schedule, and they've got them winning 9 games?
And that is part of that Texas and Oklahoma media that has embraced Dallas and asked all of these questions. So now I'm going to give you just a little bit of Amanda's spicy tidbit. And lo and behold, folks, I want to make sure I don't misquote it here. But Texas and Oklahoma. Texas has 9 national championships. 1914, no, don't joke, I wasn't around. 1941, 63, 68, 69, 70, 77, 81, and 2005. Vince Young beating USC. Great game. They won 1 natty, Texas, in the last 40 years. 40 freaking years. Oklahoma has 7 natties. 1950, 55, 56, 74, 75, 85, and 2000. 1 national championship in the last 37 years. And yet, 9 and 7.
But so you did go to grade school with Bernie Moore.
No, I did not go with Bernie Moore. But my point is this. They were unbelievable 35 and 40 years ago. LSU has won 3 in the last 20 years. Alabama has won, as you know, 6 or 7. Georgia has won 3. So for the relevance to coming in the conference, and they're all here for everything's bigger in Texas. Even Nick Saban took a shot at them. Said
they all were on the set today. It was funny.
But
Roman Harper especially.
But my point is that 40 plus years for Texas and 37 years for Oklahoma. I'm sorry, Sooner fans. The last time you lined up against LSU, Lincoln Riley was waving a white flag at halftime. 7 touchdowns, 403 passing yards.
That was the biggest
in the first half. They could have scored 80 against Oklahoma.
Oh, yeah. The 2019 season, that was the biggest beatdown of all of them.
I'm not saying I know or anybody knows how good they will be. What I'm saying is that with today's relevance, OU and Texas have basically 2 natties between both programs in the last 35, 40 years. Take that, reporters.
Yep, there you go. Devin Johnson with a super chat. Thank you for that. He says, LSU versus Ole Miss is going to be crazy. Noon sound system in Tiger Stadium is going to be insane. And I'm hearing from people working with LSU, Tiger Stadium's environment is going to be absolute chaos.
That's the night they celebrate 100 years in Tiger Stadium.
Yeah.
So,
All right. Yes, CB Allen, LSU beat OU in 03 for the national championship as well. I think oftentimes we rewatch a lot of those 2019 games, and the one I watch more often than any of them is the Oklahoma game because it was just it was a clinic.
You know who made a lot of money in that game?
Who?
Joe Burrow, and you know who else made a lot of money? Justin Jefferson. He had 4 in the first half.
You seen any of the Netflix receivers with Jefferson?
I saw a little bit of it.
I love it because he's got a lot of his family in there. It's a good watch.
Unfortunately, I
keep fast forwarding to the parts with him.
Yeah, he's special now.
Yeah,
and of course, Jamar Chase will be the next Tiger to get the big payday coming soon.
I told this story 100 times, but I'll say it again. Will never forget, East Jefferson High School or West Jeff? I forget which one. It was a rivals camp, and Jordan Jefferson's out there, and I'm like, "What are you doing out here?" He goes, "Oh, I got a little brother that's out here." So when I made my way over to the wide receivers, I looked at him and didn't register anything with me. Of course, his dad talks in this deal about how, he might have had 2 other offers besides LSU coming out of high school. And it's just amazing what a hit that was. And I would love, of course, they'll probably all lie, but I would have loved to have been a fly on the wall in the recruiting meetings when they debated the offer to Justin. And boy, what a steal that was. And then you think about it now, the competitive nature between he and Jamar Chase throughout their years at LSU. And now with him getting that big contract, Jamar's up to renegotiate his or get a new one. The money that those 2 receivers and Burrow, that 19 season is still paying.
Hey, folks, 83. Remember that number. Now, I don't know if Jelani Watkins is going to change his number like sometimes happens. I went through that roster. Nobody's wearing number 3. You could have a number 3, but Jelani Watkins ran 10.27 in high school in 100. And BK mentioned him, Dominic McKinley, Gabriel Relaford, and Deshaun Womack, who everybody that had an IQ over 50 that was a fan last year knew the son of a gun should have been playing appreciably more. But I'm excited when you start talking about this kid in the summer. That tells me Joe Sloan and Cortez Hankton are thinking little bubbles. You get them in space, you dump it off, and now all of a sudden you got a guy that runs 4.35 or faster trying to be caught in space. I really am excited about what Sloan and them are going to have to work with. Trey'Dez Green, 6'7", 240. Do you put him in the slot? What kind of
Jelani
matchup?
Watkins.
I mean, there's so many new names, folks, and we're going to be here to tell you. But Jelani Watkins, I'm hearing good reports from him, and he's a speed demon. For you old timers, Jelani, don't call me Slip Watkins. You remember Slip Watkins?
Oh, yeah.
He was a speedster, too.
Xavier Carter.
Oh, yeah.
John Sibley Butler. Miles did not want Jefferson. The untold story is Derek Dillon was also a stud who only played a little.
Let's not bring in Les because he wanted Jamar Chase to be a DB. So he had some rough goes there. Well, he did. Jamar Chase said that on numerous occasions.
And he wanted Dak Prescott to be a tight end.
Yeah. But he still won a lot of games. So,
yeah. All right, let me scroll up here and make sure I didn't miss some of these that we haven't got to already. CB Allen, ESPN has NC State ahead of LSU. Talk about no respect.
ESPN, and I don't know why the SEC uses it other than the fact that they just got a shit pile of money with this contract and going to get more in the future. But they have this thing called ESPN FPI. And after the 19th season, the ESPN FPI had LSU still number 2 behind somebody. I forget who it was, even after they beat everybody. They projected, and you and I picked up this on the show today, they predicted LSU to win 7.9 games. We're here in Vegas has got 9.5 for the over and under. So, look, it's a crapshoot. I saw Oklahoma was 8.2. I saw Tennessee was, I forgot what they were. Texas was 10, whatever. But it's a stat that just is kind of thrown up against the wall, and it gets you talking. But, I mean.
Somebody, and it ain't going to be just somebody. There's going to be multiple teams that are not going to have the seasons they think they're going to have.
A lot of parity, folks. This thing looks crazy on paper.
Yeah. And it's that time of year where everybody's winning off-season championships. All right, let's see here. I tell you what I'm going to do. Let's hear from Genesis of Lafayette.
Got a brand new attitude, like bing bang boom on a pink balloon, like I just do what I want to do, like ooh, brand new.
There you go. Genesis of Lafayette. Got to get over there. Take a test drive. Jaron Guidry, sales manager, Blake Mesh and sales. Fabulous folks over there at Genesis of Lafayette. There's a reason why they're selling more Genesis vehicles than any other dealer in the state of Louisiana. They'll deliver it to you. I don't care where you are in the state of Louisiana. If you're an LSU fan, you're interested in a great vehicle. Most of those Genesis models, whether it's the GV70, the GV80, their sedans are in Car and Driver, U.S. News and World Report, #1 in each of their categories. Nobody's interior is as good as theirs. Beautiful vehicles. Go over there, take a test drive, say TigerBait. Call them at 877-856-2961 and tell them that TigerBait sent you. And I'm telling you, I've told you guys for weeks, I've been involved in a lot of purchase of vehicles with family members, my own, and there was no better purchasing experience than I've had than the one we had with Genesis of Lafayette when the little lady wanted a new car, and she's loving the GV70.
First national commercial I saw in the All-Star game. I watched the All-Star game for a couple innings. Obviously, watched the first inning and watched Paul Skeens, but first commercial, and as you know, it is impressive.
Yep, and 3.8% financing right now on a lot of their vehicles. Give them a call. If you know interest rates, that is fantastic. Okay, all right. All right, let me scroll down here and get some of these new questions. 2019 LSU is the best. The old ball coach had some great Florida teams. Respect will come when the defense shows they've improved, says Jeff Garman. That's true. CB,
well, I don't think anybody is asking for respect right now. Mike, you and I have talked about this. The way LSU's schedule sets up, if you beat USC, and you better, because if you don't, then you and Preston are going to have about a 3-hour post game. And then you got a game that's a little bothersome at 11 o'clock in the morning at South Carolina week 3. They'll probably honor Paul Maneri as the new baseball coach at South Carolina when they play LSU. But if you don't handle UCLA, South Alabama, and Nichols, then we don't have enough phone lines anywhere to handle this. But that being said, you take care of both USCs on the West and on the East. You're 5-0 with a week to get ready for Ole Miss. And 2 years ago, Ole Miss came in as a top 10 team. They were number 7. LSU beat them. 2 years ago, Alabama came in as a top 10 team. They were number 6. LSU beat them. And they also have Oklahoma at the back end. The last 3 games at Florida, Vandy hosting Oklahoma. So I'm looking at the first 5, and I'm looking at the last 3, and then the 4 in between: Ole Miss, at Arkansas, at A&M, Alabama. So, look, everybody wants to throw a number out there. If LSU starts and gets through and lets that defense get better and better along with the offense each week, this team's got a chance to grow and be a pretty darn good football team by week 5 or 6. Just
Absolutely.
My opinion.
Trey Potan with a super chat. Hey, Mike and Buddy, massive recruit get. Absolutely. Big kudos to Corey Raymond, the LSU staff. Big need position. #1 cornerback in the country from Florida. And when you think about it, certainly Stingley had that notoriety. But this one has vibes of Patrick Peterson to me.
Really?
It just does. I mean,
and now he's long and lanky.
I'm just talking about the national view of it.
Yeah. Oh, there's no doubt. I think it's great parallel.
Yep. It's
of course, Pat helped out in that recruiting. Patrick Peterson loves LSU. He loves golf, and he loves repping the purple and gold. So I know. And see, this is a really cool thing. BK has been able to get Peterson and Tyrann Mathieu and Andrew Whitworth and all the superstars and Hall of Famers to come back and help recruit. And now you're starting to see a little bit of the fruits of the labor. But look, I'm sure Bryce Underwood and all those offensive guys have been in their ear as well. And that's what makes it exciting. This team that's going to come in 25, these new recruits, I think they're all going to be on the same page. I really do.
By the way, y'all do me a favor. I said I would never do it, and I buckled. And TigerBait does have a TikTok page now. And we rolled that out Monday. We've been loading up video there also every day. Of course, the TikTok format is the shorts. And but we've got a lot there. It's the same name, LSU Tigers on TigerBait. Search for us, and please give us a follow on TikTok, if you will. All right. Thank you for that super chat, as always. Good evening, Mike and Buddy, says Blaine Smith. I'm hoping to land some big-time defensive linemen. Well, you got a few weeks ago. And
Zion Williams, Brandon Brown.
Yep.
And I think there's also good overtures towards Travis, huh?
Yeah.
So look, this is what we're trying to portray tonight. That momentum that you all isn't it insatiable, the appetite? Look, you come back from the beach, you're starting to get the kids ready. Still some vacation time, but you want to hear LSU pick up commits. And you and I both agree, you better have thin skin. They're going to be picked a little bit lower. LSU under the radar. Last year, preseason in the country, AP number 5. You had Jaden Daniels and all those guys coming back. This year, you and I agree, in preseason 12 to 15.
Yeah, I think so.
And 7 or 8 in the SEC, somewhere in that. I think BK's got to love it. He's got to tell these guys, look, everybody's sleeping on you.
I'd say give me an 8 or a 9, whatever the lowest number he can get. And if he could choose it, he'd take it. But yeah, it's it all goes back to what we say every week. USC, you got to get that one. And then the rest of the way, you get a chance to build upon that and get your defense right. And certainly they want to get that running game fine-tuned by midseason.
All right.
All right. John Sibley Butler comes in with a very generous super chat. Thank you for that, John Sibley Butler, as always. He says, another great show. What is the early scouting report on USC? Do they have a playmaker again?
Yeah, Miller Moss is their quarterback. He threw 6 touchdown passes in the bowl game. Look, they've got a similar mindset as LSU in the perception. Now, obviously, a lot of offense with Lincoln Riley and the quarterback. And, of course, they lost their Heisman Trophy. I remember when Mike called me, there were a bunch of quarterbacks in the field, in the indoor facility, and he kept talking about Caleb Williams and all the guys that were in there. Can you imagine? You saw that guy was a Heisman Trophy winner. LSU had Jaden Daniels. They're both replacing Heisman Trophy winners. And, I hope people are patient with us, but you and I have been talking a little philosophical football. Don't be shocked to see LSU running a little bit more and control that clock. I think you're going to see the big uglies line up in purple and gold and remind people of that Notre Dame offensive line that Kelly always had at Notre Dame. And you're going to see that offensive line exert their will on people. But defensively is the question with USC, and none of us know how good they are. They brought in some new players and some new defensive coaches, so they're considered a mess on defense as well.
Did you see it, or did you any of y'all watch and see Feinbaum's rant on Lincoln Riley?
I saw that.
It was one for the ages.
Yeah, and I saw another one on Deion Sanders. And
that one was great too.
Feinbaum is polishing up his head.
He's had a few good days of rants.
He's had some spicy tidbits.
Yep. John Sibley Butler, man, thank you again for
thank
that,
you, John,
for that big time. Dane Bergeron comes in with one super chat. He says LSU better beat USC in the open, otherwise BK will be 0-3 in his season openers. Yeah, he knows that. And of course, he gets, he keeps getting hit with the overall loss record in recent years. And so they need to snap out of that.
And I'd like, look, we keep talking about this, but seriously, let's try to make this happen. Everybody's so busy, but I'd like to meet these guys at some kind of function and chew the fat and talk and grill up some Manda sausage and have some libations and all that. We got to get Snake and Shark to pass the bread and get on the same page. Look, folks, this life is crazy as hell, and we don't have enough respect in it. So I'm hoping we can kind of have some get together, even on the open date week or one of the big games with LSU, the home games. We go out there and break bread and kind of see the TigerBait family.
I'd love that. Maybe do something like it on the well, not on the patio, depending on the heat, but on Modesto or something like that. We need to do that. We talk about it every year, and we end up not doing it. But
I want to meet Snake, and I want to meet Shark.
But I think a great place would be Capital City Grill.
Yeah, absolutely.
So we'll see.
Yeah.
All right. Spectrum Well Care. Interesting that BK mentioned Dylan Carpenter at SEC Media Day.
I did not hear that. I do know that I'm ready to make a prediction that could make me an idiot or make me somebody on the cutting edge, and I'm going to say it. This man, Kevin Peoples, coming in, is the best freaking edge rush coach LSU's ever had. Best. And Missouri's got the easiest schedule, but they lost Peoples. They lost Blake Baker, and they lost some other people. But they are going to send the kitchen sink. Gabriel Relaford and all these young pups coming in here. Obviously, you got to hide Perkins and send him, but I'm just confident that they're going to bring pressure. 13 should have played more. 16 should have played more. We could go on and on. Whitweek should have played more. I can't wait to see what these new defensive coaches come up with from a game plan. I don't think people are figuring that in. You saw this team with that soft-ass zone. I'm going to sit back and let you catch it in front of me. Now let's watch LSU play aggressive football, creating havoc and getting after that quarterback and punishing him. That's what you have to look forward to. I think they're going to love the pressure, Mike.
Yes. Bart Smokey in the house. Here in the fan base at Las Vegas will be close to 75% LSU. And looking forward to Bart told me, I think it's now over 20 years we've been doing his show on Monday nights. And so looking forward to cranking those back up on 96.9 in Alexandria, KZMZ. They're on from 4 to 6. Do a great LSU for decades in Alexandria, and you can hear that all through central Louisiana. But it is going to be big LSU in Vegas. Paul Escon says, let's do it now. Set up the grill at Pride Roofing.
Hey, Paul did the business with
Yes, he
Mike,
did.
and that's exactly what happened. He called me and you up and said, guys, I want to do business with Pride. But I forgot, 300-400, whatever. They sharpened the pencil. He's now referred about 10 people to do business with Pride Roofing, including his relatives.
By the way, folks, if y'all please do me a favor, hit the like button. If you're enjoying the show, do me a favor, hit the like button. And if you're not already subscribed to the channel, hit that subscribe button and the notification bell.
PFM Caller of the Year on my show for 2 or 3 years consecutively. Really, really sharp, well-spoken LSU fan.
Dane Bergeron says, preach it, buddy. Lou Tepper's soft zone was DiNardo's undoing.
Yeah.
He had a lot more that contributed to his undoing than just Lou Tepper. Boy, he imploded. But I liked him. I did like him. I always say that.
BK did say this. I don't know if you caught this. Said this team is the most accountable. They finally know what is expected in year 3. He also said LSU is the deepest team that he's had in year 3. He's been very successful in year 3 everywhere he's been. Like we said, if you start with a little momentum and take care of business, you got a chance to be really good. I think, well, I ask you, I think the fans are smart enough to know Sloan and Hankton, this is big time. I know Joe did it 2 years at La Tech, and he did it once in the bowl game, but this is big time. Garrett Nussmeier, 1 start. His daddy's been a coach. He's been around bowl all his life, but this is big time. And so you've got some particulars this year. Blake Baker, all the new defensive coaches. Other teams don't know what LSU is going to do on defense, and we saw very little in the spring. So, folks, a lot of surprises this fall, just like we got a big one today.
Absolutely. Trey Potan as Mike, where are the ticket deals in the desert? Man, I'm gonna be honest with you, Trey. I don't know that. I would assume right now that the prices are high from third ticket sellers. That they always seem to drop the day of the game, but you're not gonna book a trip and go out there without tickets. So I could be wrong, but I'm assuming if you're gonna buy now, you're probably gonna pay high. But
this is BK's worst nightmare if he doesn't win, because not only are they going to drink some of those places dry, they're going to eat some of those places dry, but they're also going to get that incredible purple and gold rush 2 or 3 days before the game and load in, and baby, I'm going to put 100 on the Tigers.
Yeah.
They're 6.5 point favorite. I don't care. I feel it. They're going to win this game.
But a couple
and it might happen, but
let's say a couple goes to Vegas between their airfare, their hotel, the game tickets, meals, Ubers, cabs, whatever, gambling. You're in the fancy hotels with all the fancy shops, and you end up buying the missus something nice. I would like to know what the average couple is going to drop in Vegas for this trip.
I'll let you put a number.
I'm going to say $5 or $6 grand.
I'm going 8 to 10 grand.
All right.
I mean, airfare is through the roof.
So if you stink it up and lose, they're really going to be mad.
That's another thing. That is even because, look, when you pay more, you expect a W. And so,
yeah, you guys that are going, what are you expecting to shell out? Because I mean, what day are you going on?
Yeah.
And are you going Wednesday, Thursday? Are you
well,
flying in Thursday?
I'm talking about the wigs that are staying in the big places and going to spend all.
Most of the places are big places.
Oh, I know. That's what I'm saying.
There's not a.
You said 5,000. I think it's a little low.
You're not staying at the
probably
Red Roof Inn.
Look, it's a bucket list trip for a lot of people, and unfortunately, my bucket list trip was to Green Bay, and that was one I won't ever forget. But it's so sad because it was a fantastic trip, except for the 4 hours.
Bar Smokey says $8 grand.
Yeah, I said 8 to 10 grand. Yeah,
there you go. Man, $8 grand. I can go to New Zealand for 10 days on that.
Yeah, but you can't do a post game show in New Zealand.
Exactly. Nurse Court says she's going Friday, coming back Monday. There you go.
Court, it's amazing.
Yeah, and talk about angry. If you're hungover, they lost. You're down $8 grand.
And you know who else feels the pinch?
But if they win,
I was going to say, you know who else feels the pinch if LSU loses? The gamblers and all the festivities in Las Vegas. Mm-hmm. Man, after they lost that game in Green Bay, they sent all the bartenders and everybody.
I mean, there's people that they're shelling out. What are tickets for the Sphere now? Y'all tell me. 800 to 1,200. The new big Sphere.
Yeah.
Yeah. American Patriot, great show, guys. Please hit the like button. Thank you for that super chat, American Patriot. John Smith, got to go, guys. Take care. Great show as always. And Jeff Garman says Bloody Mary's on the flight home. Dane Bergeron says that Trey Potan, the airfare is $1,100 according to a friend. Yeah, I watched it drop, increase $300 about 2 weeks ago. So yeah, there you go. All right, you know who I need to talk about? Only the greatest place to get your LSU gear if you're going to Las Vegas. And LSU fans, tell you about the best place to get all your Tiger gear, Alumni Hall. Shop at their store off Blue Bonnet and Perkins Row, or shop online at alumnihall.com. They've got it all. Nike, Champion, all the coaches' shirts, the stuff you're going to see them wearing on the sideline this fall. They change them out every year. They've got that all in stock now. Johnny O, Arnold Reserve, Peter Millar, Southern Tide, and a whole lot more. I mean, they have got a whole wall of the greatest looking polos you're ever going to see. And the dry fit ones, the ones that are going to keep you cool. And LSU baseball jerseys and much more. Hall Pass rewards. You can earn rewards on your future purchases. And I have a discount to share with my friends and subscribers. So when you shop, use the code TigerBait, all one word, TigerBait, in store or online, and you'll get 10% off your purchase. Go shop with my friends at Alumni Hall and use the code TigerBait to save. And best thing about it, again, if you're in North Louisiana, Houston, Dallas, Mississippi, wherever, if you shop at Alumni Hall, the product is shipping from the Baton Rouge store, so you're going to get it in a day or two. And so,
I always add, give yourself 30 minutes. Look, Blue Bonnet Perkins is always a bottleneck. You're going to enjoy something. They've got great discounts. Mention TigerBait, you get the discount. And I've had a lot of friends in the last 6 months, really in the summertime, get to know Alumni Hall. You should too this football season.
Absolutely. Earl Morgan comes in. Pickett is huge. Raymond must be beside himself. While a lot of us were maybe caught flat-footed on that one this evening, I can tell you that the LSU staff was not. I'm told he actually gave the coaching staff the word days ago. So there you go. But I enjoyed being told that the media, which includes myself and everybody, that we were peddling fake news with Pickett to Oregon all this time.
All right. I think I'll call that rat poison. One of the Alabama players came back at Saban today, I think, in a joking manner. He's a big offensive lineman. Saban did not pick Alabama to be in the SEC championship game. And I'm going to tell you, folks, I went through these schedules. I'm serious. If somebody's undefeated this year, they're really, really good. But they didn't pick Alabama. And so he made a joke about, Nick, when he was a coach, said all those media guys would spew all that rat poison. And he said, I don't want to listen to his rat poison for a guy that's been spending all that time on the golf course. And of course, Nick Saban, as most people know, has dove into this new media deal. He forgot his credentials, so he had a little hiccup on the first day, but he watched the film. He's talked to all these guys and all that. I think he's going to be a good addition to ESPN, but the Alabama player, and that motivated them. LSU being picked 7th or 8th when it comes out Friday, that ought to be motivating. But
I'm watching Harper sometimes, and I kind of feel like he's got a little bit of thing about LSU. And then you go look at the years that he played for Alabama, and I'm not sure that he ever beat LSU.
Who's that?
Roman Harper.
Yeah. I think Roman did beat LSU.
He did, it might have been only one of his 3 years.
Yeah. Well, look, you've been watching. You get tired of all of the talk.
I'm pretty sure he was in that secondary. In fact, I know he was. He was in that secondary with Josh Reed and Rohan Davey.
Yeah. Well, that was a classic game. So. Yeah. Nick is going to give you LSU some major props. He called them a sleeper team the first day out. And look, none of these media predictions mean anything. I think they slant a little bit with AP rankings. And so Georgia, Texas, Alabama, Ole Miss, Missouri, probably going to be ahead of LSU. And then you've got Oklahoma, Tennessee, LSU, Texas A&M, and Kentucky. That's a pretty damn good solid 10 to start your conference off.
Todd Davis, we actually beat out Phil Knight. Yeah, what does that say about NIL? And, of course, that's now been combined with the TAF, an entity, and Austin Thomas, a big part of that and doing that. So you got to give them all kudos, man. Again, like I said earlier in the show, Corey Raymond is been kind of a bit of a whipping boy on social media for the last 2 or 3 weeks. He's got to be pumping his fists and out eating a big steak right now.
Well, and then you got to continue that momentum. LSU needs more DBs. We know that. And Mike, next week we're going to talk about some of the potential new guys, like a guy like Jordan Gilbert coming over from A&M. He was hurt. When he played the year before, he did a pretty good job for A&M. But what's he going to bring to the table? Jawan Johnson, he's grown into a safety from a corner. Gabe Relaford, Dominic McKinley, Jai, the guy from Grand Valley. And oh, by the way, Deshaun McBride has changed his last name to Spears. and we'll get the story about, I think it's because of a stepfather or whatever, but you really were high on number 10 in the spring foot. I think that's going to be a guy that's going to be in the mix right from the get-go.
Trey Pontin with a super chat. Guys, what are the thoughts on baseball? I really have great appreciation of Jay's process. LSU forever. Love the show. Keep it up. Well, just like we talked about earlier, those big gets today for Jay Johnson. And look, man, it's and I keep saying it. We were supposed to do it Friday. We had a couple of days with Kendall Rogers living in East Texas where he was without power, but we're going to do that final wrap-up show, and I think now's the time to do it. I'm going to reach out to him tomorrow and see if we can knock it out for our last batter-up of the 24 season. But Jay Johnson certainly has both a high school signing class and a transfer portal class that he's got to be pretty darn happy with right now.
Well, let's give him a big shout out. William Schmidt, who is a first-round draft choice, 7 days a week. He takes his name out. Obviously, he got an NIL deal. This is the way you go. The minor leagues is a rough life, but this kid is the real deal. Unbelievable 12-6 curveball and throws that fastball anywhere from 95 to 96. He first takes his name out, and so that's the first-round guy. He's going to be in the mix next year. Cade Amaribidi or whatever, hard to say his last name. He's a catcher, took his name out the hopper. Curriel, an outfielder, took his name out the draft. And then, of course, Jared Jones, you got the break when he wasn't drafted. At what point, I'm not sure what round it was. He said, I'm coming back to LSU. So right there, that's a lot of good news. Some big-time transfers. Dickinson is a kid that's going to probably play third base, big hits. Got a lot of power, got a lot of pitching. And I think Jay Johnson has made a statement. I know all these ratings don't mean anything, but I've seen 2 or 3 people say they've got the number 1 portal class in the country once again.
All right, everybody. Anything you want to add on the way out?
Just that we hope all of you doing well, and we're getting closer.
Hit the like button.
2 weeks from tomorrow, LSU reports 2 weeks from today, 2 weeks from tomorrow, our first practice opportunity.
Can't wait. We're going to practice reports for you in the whole schmear. And if you enjoyed the show, again, please hit the like button, subscribe, notification bell, subscribe to our TikTok, LSU Tigers on TigerBait. And if you're not a premium subscriber to TigerBait, we're on the boards day and night. Got a lot of content, a lot of premium content coming your way. A lot of it good stuff, analysis pieces that Brian Lazar's put out this week. $1. Try us out. Go to tigerbait.com. You're going to get our text alerts, newsletters, the whole shebang. We've got it all for you over at tigerbait.com. And we would love to have you be a part of our Tiger Den message board, our online community. And we're going to have a good season, I think, and with a lot more additions. So, all right, everybody. Thanks for tuning in. Thanks to Buddy Songy being with me again tonight. And we'll see y'all next week. Good night.